from Cosmo, and she writes, I asked every man I messaged with about his relationship expectations and family values. Each seemed to know exactly what he was looking for in a wife and articulated it before we even met. She was typically an unvaccinated Christian white woman willing to quit her job and commit to homeschooling children. Her hobbies might include tending to a garden and feeding animals. She adds, I'm a vaccinated white woman who works and loves exercising at 6 a.m. and going to spas on Friday nights. Later on, she talks about another man that she dated who said that wives should be submissive to their husbands. Let me actually pull that one.
When was this written? 2019 or 2020?
This story?
Yeah.
The story was written a month ago.
A month ago. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got the wrong date then. The illustration was 20.
No, the Axios story.
Oh, the Axios.
On communist
okay.
women was
okay.
from
Now
2019.
we're back up to speed here. Got it.
Right.
Okay.
So she adds, in one date, she was dating Tom, and she asked him what he thought a biblical woman was, and he said women should be submissive to their husbands, and some people believe they should be trained. It's about knowing your role in nature. It's undesirable for women to be too independent. As a man, I want to take care of you, and I believe in that biology. The liberal women I've dated emasculate men with their aggressive energy. We were no longer holding hands, she writes. I was thinking about this. So for those that are just tuning in, this story is from Cosmo about a woman who dated a bunch of conservative men. And I was thinking, why is it that men still very much retain their animalistic nature, their evolutionary psychological drives? That is, goal-oriented, meritocratic, these kinds of issues. And why is that women seem to be acting outside of, let me put it this way. Men very much still act in accordance with what they need to do to survive. Laziness is actually an evolutionary psychological component of survival. Humans who exuded less energy when they didn't need to were more likely to survive because they would live longer. Humans that waste their energy milling about and doing random things would have less energy when they needed it. So that's why we tend to not want to work if we don't have to. However, when we look to these women, they're talking about communist ideologies. They don't want to have kids. They want to have jobs, things largely not associated with traditional femininity. And I was thinking maybe it's actually because there is no evolutionary psychological drive for women to have to do anything. So if you go back several hundred years, when the pressures on women at the time when we were living in the wilderness or were nomadic or whatever, medieval, men had to be goal-oriented, had to find food, had to work every day, and had to fight for survival. You had to relax when you could to recover and regenerate. But women were within the confines of whatever the men did, meaning women were less likely to survive on their own, were less likely to be able to succeed in hunting, were more likely to be staying at home through natural evolutionary pressures. That is to say, I wonder if the reason we've come to this position where men largely want a traditional biblical reality and women do not is that evolution never pressured women to want these things in the same way. They were pressured through external forces by you would just die either way. You know what I mean? Whereas men can survive on their own. A guy can go out in the woods and survive. Women are less likely to.
Yeah.
That creates a circumstance where women were going to be women required the protection of men until recently. And now with a police state and a heavy militarized state and much lower crime and much more comfortability, you get women's liberation. So there's no evolutionary psychological drive to simply, not as much as men, I would say, which results in the modern liberal woman who then wants to just, wake up at 6 a.m., do drugs and masturbate like Chelsea Handler.
I mean, yeah, but the fact of the matter is that the protection that women used to enjoy from a husband, now society provides generally, because we do have, especially in the United States, we live in an anomalous time. We are the incredibly successful, incredibly peaceful because of our success. Most people don't have to struggle to find their next meal. Even people that are poor usually can go to the cupboard and maybe they're eating cereal or ramen, but even still, it's like you've got something, So
There's also still a certain, there is a certain societal pressure and expectation. Say you're even in a happy marriage and both the man and the woman work, right? So the expectation would still be if tomorrow both of them lost their job, the societal expectation would be that the man is the one who finds a job first and provides. And in the back of men's minds, that will always be there, even in a relationship where both of you are working. So it's not like, even with society evolving to the place that it is now, like that you can't just bury that. It's just going to be there for men. And I don't know if necessarily that rings true for women. I don't think they even think about it as much.
Someone brought up a good point in the comments. That meme about if you're in the woods, would you rather be alone with a man or a bear? And all of these liberal women were saying a bear. Right. And so this is the question I'm asking. What about the human condition leads a large faction of women to entertain death? Right? Circumstances not conducive to survival and the expansion of humanity.
So I have a theory about this that might come off a little misogynistic, but historically, men have had to interact with reality. Women have to interact with people.
That was kind of my point about evolutionary psychology.
Yeah.
Men actually have to go fight the bear. Women don't.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why women, when you propose this concept, this idea to them, they're not thinking about the reality of a bear. They're thinking of the fear of a man if, you can't calm him down, you can't talk him out of this or whatever. They're thinking of they're not thinking of the ramifications of dealing with a bear.
Give them a year of Vice articles about the evils of bears and then re-ask the question.
But is that it? Is it that it's a runaway social cohort?
Yeah.
It's a social contagion.
Look, there's endless stories. They love true crime, stories about violent men. It's all over the news. It's all over Hollywood. Everywhere they look, they are being shown examples of violence from men. Very rarely, unless they watch Cocaine Bear, the movie Cocaine Bear, they're not getting examples of violent bears. But if you give them a year of articles about people who just stumbled into the woods and were killed by a grizzly bear, then you might actually get a different answer from some of them.
If you could make people understand how infrequently an interaction with a wild bear, and I'm talking about a grizzly, not a black bear. Black bears run from people. Yeah. But if you interact with a brown bear in the wild, you die. There's almost no one comes out okay.
The saying goes, what is it? If it's brown, get down. Yeah. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good night.
Yeah. And look, the real answer they should say is, I want to be stuck in the woods with a man and a bear. That way, if I can run faster than the man, I will live and the man will die.
I think you articulated it better than me, Phil, when you said they've replaced the protection of men with the state.
Yeah.
And so essentially what we used to have was I can't remember what podcast, it was probably whatever podcast, but they were talking about how women are lied to all the time and men are not. Yep. Men are insulted, degraded, berated, and they're not just told the truth, but harsh versions of it. Women, on the other hand, tend to be lied to. Guys will say they're pretty because they're trying to get something out of them. People are trying not to be rude. They're trying to be mean. They're talking down or whatever. And so in the past, men dealing with actual reality. A guy walks on the property with a gun and he's shooting at him and the guy's got to deal with it and the woman stays inside. Now, in that scenario, that guy would tell the woman, get behind the closet, sit down and shut up, and then she'd be terrified. If this man does not succeed in stopping this burglar, this marauder, she's next. But the state has now taken that over, and the state is not telling women what to do and how to do it. It's just there. Mm-hmm. So you end up with, in this story, and I'm not saying this woman's wrong to feel the way she does or to live the way she does. I'm saying what created this bifurcation where women not having kids is the end of civilization. End of story. Like, I'm not saying women are forced to have kids or should. I'm just telling you, humanity ceases to exist when women stop having children. Men want to bang anything with legs. It's messed up.
Including New York subways. I read that story.
That story was
gross.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's
guys are. It's funny because people say bitches be crazy, and my wife was like, men are crazy. And then I looked outside and I saw Special Mike on the mini ramp, and I was like, you're not wrong. Yeah, they're crazy in different ways.
Men are crazy in the pursuit of glory, whatever.
I don't know about that guy banging the corpse.
No, that is crazy in pursuit of It's not real reproduction, but it tricks the brain into thinking that it's reproduction. It's messed up. Look, everybody knows that like evolution experiments in men, and it gets it wrong way more than it gets it right. But still, like, men are in pursuit of things that will impress women. That's why dudes want to be rich. They want to be famous. Dudes that do want to be.
That's it, bro. And women are in pursuit of things that impress women as well.
Well, yes, they do.
The joke that's been around for a long time, it's not really a joke, but I can't remember which comedian brought it up. He said, who's on the cover of a men's magazine, a man or a woman?
It's a woman.
And who's on the cover of a woman's magazine, a man or a woman?
It's a woman.
Exactly. And then the audience.
Well, it's not Melania Trump on a women's magazine. We know that.
Check this out. This is from the article from Cosmo. She's on a different date. I met up with Jake, 36. He was on his second mezcal Negroni and was sipping a seltzer with lime. When I asked him why his last relationship ended, quote, my previous girlfriend killed our child. He said, like, she's in jail now for murder, I asked. No, but she should be. She got an abortion and killed our child without asking me. I took a deep breath and tried to listen carefully. That's the end of that story.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, from these two examples that I've gotten so far, I just don't believe it's even realistic. This looks to me like completely contrived caricatures of like worst case scenarios. Now, I'm not saying she's not telling the truth, but I'm reading along as you read that, so I'm seeing the text on the screen as well. It doesn't ring true to me. It rings as propaganda.
It is playing.
Let's take a look at the millennial generation right now. So, the last big data set we got was from Pew that found 70% of millennial females are Democrat voters. Females, college educated, are the only anti-Trump cohort. So so let me clarify that. You've got white male and female college educated and white male and female non-college educated. Male college educated are +1 Trump.
Correct.
Male and female non-college educated are like +40 Trump. Mm-hmm. Females college educated are -35 Trump.
It's an amazing skew. I saw those stats.
So this means what we have now in the millennial left female. I don't know if it's true for Gen Z, but the younger female, they're voting for war. The Democratic Party is overwhelmingly the party of war. Don't get me wrong. Trump is bombing Yemen. He's pro-Israel and all these things too. But he's trying. He has in his first term and in his campaign has advocated for and worked towards peace agreements, the Abraham Accords, and things like this, negotiating with foreign countries like North Korea and Venezuela. Venezuela's not working out so well. But women overwhelmingly are voting for a party that is in preference to sterilizing children, to aborting children, and to going to war. Things that are antithetical to the expansion and survival of human civilization. So that's what I'm confused about. Like, how does that manifest itself? Like, where does that come from? This destructive energy, this destructive ideology. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.